Hello guys, myself Ankit. In this video we shall see another problem on LeetCode. Reverse words in a string. So in the previous video we saw just to reverse a string and that is containing only a one word, single word. But in this case it is a string, it has many words. So we have to reverse the words in the string. So if the sky is blue, we have to reverse the string in such a way that the answer should be blue is kaita. We are not reversing the characters here. We will be reversing the words. So blue will come first, ta will go the last, s will come, east will come first, and sky next. So this is the output. A word is defined as a sequence of non-space characters. The words in S will be separated by at least one space. Which we need to notice here is return a string of the words in reverse order concatenated by a single space. So if there are any extra spaces in the word, you should remove all such spaces. Note that S may contain leading or trailing spaces or multiple spaces. Leading space means a space is in the beginning of the string. Trailing spaces at the end of the string. And for multiple spaces means in between the string there are two or more spaces. So between two words. The return string should have only one single space separating the words. Do not include any extra space. So you could see leading space, trailing space, two, and we have in the middle only one single space. In this case, the middle space is two. So we need to handle in such a way that when you reverse the words in the string, it has to continually single space between the words, and the leading and trailing space should be removed. So what is the approach to solve this problem? So initially, let's consider this example and I'll give an extra space in between hello and world also so that it's easier for us to handle all the test cases. So I'll mark the spaces as underscore, then hello, and again two spaces and then world, and again two spaces. So this is the given input string. We have to return the result in such a way that you have to reverse the word and trailing and leading spaces must be removed. And in between the words, if there are multiple spaces, that should be removed and it should have only single space. So this trailing space we remove, word we will have, and this multiple spaces should be removed and it should be converted to single space. Then this hello, and this leading space also should be removed. So this is the output and this is the input. So approach to solve this problem is at first we will start from iterating the string from the back side. Why? Because the logic which we are applying is we will neglect the spaces initially. So we will run the while loop. If s dot character it let j equal to pointing to s dot length minus 1. That is the end of the string. If s dot character at j is equal to space, then j minus minus. Fine. So until you find a character, you pass the string. So this trailing space is neglected now in this input string. So that for the output string we won't be adding this. Next, we need two variables. One is temp. This temp is required to store each single word in a string. So to store word in a string, we need temp. And resultant also another string is required. This is to store the resultant string. The temp is for each word in a string and resultant string is used to store the entire string resultant. So we start from the last so that once you encounter a character, you append that to the temp, okay? Then again, until you encounter another space, you add those characters to the temp. So once you encounter this space, the temp will contain, okay. Now you start from here, no? You have spaces, you neglect them. J minus minus you do until you find a character because s dot character at of equal to space, then J minus minus. So once you find a character, s dot character of j is not equal to space. So this time while loop will be stop. So next you run the for loop. For loop will start from I equal to j because from here we should not take this spaces into consideration. So for I equal to j, I greater than equal to 0. Why 0? This is a reverse loop and I minus minus. Now once you encounter, the logic here is once you encounter a character after a space, you add that character to the temp. So that will be if s dot character 80 of I is not equal to space, then if it is not equal to, I have given this mark, then append that to the character. So temp plus equals to character 80 of I. So temp will add D now. Next it will add R because that is not equal to space. Then O, then W. Now you can see for the next loop we are encountering a space here, right? So in this case, what we need to do? Once you encounter the space, we have to store this resultant temp and add that to the resultant string. But before adding that to the resultant string, we have to reverse this temp. So how do you reverse this temp? Temp that is using string builder object. So let's define a string builder reverse string that will convert a new object called reverse string equal to new string new of string builder new string builder of temp. So we create an object of this string temp that is stored in reverse string name or string builder object. You do the reverse. So to reverse, once you do the reverse, again dot to string. So what do we perform here is given a string temp, we have to reverse that string. But we cannot do that on the string directly because string is immutable in Java. So that's why we convert into an object. So while converting to object, we define a new object called reverse string. So once you define a new, you convert into an object, and then you perform the reverse operation of that object. Once you do reverse of an object, it will return you word. So this is object right now. Then this dot to string will convert into string again, and that is stored in the new string called reverse string. So append this reverse string to the resultant now. So resultant. So now after this resultant plus equals to reverse string. So once you append this resultant reverse string to the resultant, you have to append a space as well for the next word. So res plus equals to space. Why? So once you have word, next it should contain a space. Next only the next whatever word is present that should be appended here. So now adding this temp is done. Now reinitialize temp to empty. Why empty? So as you encountered a space, next until you find next character, a new word will be arising. So that's why your initial temp equal to empty. So you go back now. Again, it's a space. So okay. Now this is the first space which you encountered, right? So when this space, when you encounter this, this is when you add it. Here only you add it. For the next space when you encounter, do we need to add this space? No, we should not. So how to avoid this condition? To avoid this condition, you just give another condition. If s dot character 80 of I plus 1, that is this pointer, is not equal to space, if that is not equal to space, then you perform this operation, whichever I told. So in this condition, if we check, I let's say I is pointing here. So s dot character 80 of I plus 1 is not equal to space. Then you convert this which is stored in temp to in reverse that and store into resultant, right? If in case a store characteristic of I plus 1 is space, that means that some other word here has been already stored and you just need to neglect this condition. So go back again. Now we encountered a new character. So we add that to the 10. So then will contain 0, L, L, E, H until you encounter space. So in this time, you again, extra character I plus 1 is not equal to space. So again, you perform the operation temp equal to this we have. Using string builder object, you convert it to hello and store that to the resultant string. That is what we need to do. In this case, we encountered what space and we could do this. What if there is no space at the end? So if there is no space at the end, you have hello now in the temp. In all the cases, only if there is a space, we are adding that to the resultant string. What if there is no space? In such case, you need to handle this exceptional case like s dot characteristic of I is not equal to space in this case, and I is equal to 0. That is this condition. Then you have to append this character. Like you add this character to the resultant temp. So temp plus equals to characteristic of I, whatever present here. Then you perform all the same operation. So once all these are done, now at last you will have hello world, right? And it will contain hello world was the previous whatever was there. So it will contain world, hello, and a space. So what do we do to avoid this space? Because since you have this, if this was the condition, if the input string was hello world, hello something and world, in this case you won't get an extra space, right? But here in this case you have an extra space. How do you, that will be here in the last part. How do you remove this trailing space? To remove this trailing space, we run the while loop while I is greater than or equal to 0 and I mean I means resultant of length. Resultant of length is greater than 0 and s dot not s, here is the resultant string. So resultant dot character 80 of last, that is last index is result dot length minus 1, that is equal to space. In such case, this space, in such case, we use a substring method to remove all the trailing spaces. How do we do that? So that is done by res equal to res dot substring of 0 comma res dot length minus 1. So this will remove all the trailing spaces. At last you return the resultant. So instead of removing all the trailing spaces using substring, you have trim method which will directly remove spaces, but we won't use that here. So if you use trim method, all these are not required. You just reverse the string, at last you do res dot trim. That is fine. So we will code this. As I said, at first we need two variables in temp equal to, sorry, not in temp, it's a string. So in string temp equal to empty string, then string res equal to empty string. So temp is used to store each word. Resultant is used to store final reversed string. So after you do this, let's say int j equal to s dot length minus 1. Now run the while loop to neglect or leading spaces so that y j greater than or equal to 0 and s dot character at of j is equal to space. Don't give double inverted commas because it's a character, so single inverted comma you have to give. Then you do j minus minus. So this will neglect all the leading spaces at the beginning of this. I mean at the end of the string. When you reverse it, it comes to the beginning. So that's why at the beginning of the resultant string, leading all spaces at the beginning of the resultant string. So after you do this, follow for in I equal to j because we neglected all these spaces and it for loop will start from D now. So int I equal to j, I greater than or equal to 0 and I minus minus. If s dot character at of I is not equal to empty, first we will handle the I equal to 0th case because only if I equal to 0th case is not correct then only and I is equal to 0. So that means we are pointing here, right? This is the condition which we are handling. So extra calculate if I is not equal to space and I equal to 0. First you have to add that character. So extra character at of I. That is nothing but temp plus equals extra character at of I. Once you add that character to the temp, now uh, create a new reverse string, new string builder of temp dot to reverse dot to string dot reverse it is sorry dot reverse dot to string. So you're creating object, reversing it, then storing it as string and storing to a new string. Now you append this new string to the resultant. How you do that? So resultant plus equals to reversed string and also append a spacer plus equals space. This is what we have to do. Else, if s dot character at of I is not equal to space. So this is the this condition where you have s dot character at of I is not equal to space and I is equal to 0. Then you first append this character to temp. Once you append this character to temp, now you convert this entire temp to the resultant. I mean string. You add that to the resultant string by doing the reverse operation and add it to the resultant string. What if you encounter a character in the middle, like H, K, or something? Then you just need to add that to the temp. So temp plus equals s dot character at of I. Now next else if. Else condition would be the nothing but s dot character at of I is equal to space. So in such case, you have to look for another condition. As I told here, in this case, if s dot character at of I plus 1 is not equal to space, then you append you do this operation temp equal to the character of sorry not this one. Yeah, we don't do this, we don't add characters, we just create a new string and append that to the resultant string. What if you have a space here and s dot character of I plus 1 equal to space, then you have to neglect this space, so no more extra spaces should be considered. So else if s dot character at of I plus 1 that is not equal to space, I mean this condition is space. right? So in such case, do the same operation. I'll just copy paste. Okay. So if you encounter this space, what we have to do? Take all this in the temp, we have it, and reverse it and convert into string again, then add that result in reverse string to the resultant and add spaces. So now at last, in this case, you won't be having any trailing space, but in this case, you will have trailing space in the end, right? So in such case, what we need to do? For such case, we have to remove the trailing space. So removing trailing spaces. While res.length greater than 0 and res.character 80 of last character, that is res.length minus 1, if that is equal to space, and it also should be a bracket. Then res equal to res dot substring of 0 comma res dot length minus 1. So at last you return res. So if you don't do this, removing all the leading spaces, trailing spaces, everything, and add all those things, then else you can do return res dot. So this will remove all the extra spaces in the string and return the string. So we will run this. Res equal to res dot. Okay, this S need not be capital. Fine. Where I did a mistake. Let me check. Okay, once you do this operation, we have to reinitialize temp equal to null. That is very important because you are encountering one more new string later, right? That's it. So temp should be reinitialized to null. Yeah, because only after that you will be able to add the new word. So yeah, yeah, it's been successfully submitted. If you have any doubts, please drop it in the comment section. We'll come up with another video next session. And so please subscribe to the channel and keep learning. Thank you.